Hey everyone, welcome to the Good Trouble Show. Senators, we have a message for you. The Pentagon has been hiding some things. Familiarize yourselves.
Meantime, on Capitol Hill, the frustration is escalating. Some senators, just off a classified briefing, want President Biden to update the shoot down of 4 flying objects in just over a week. There has been widespread bipartisan exasperation over the lack of information.
Didn't really learn a darn thing.
Did you get any answers as to what those other objects were?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
There ought to be more transparency, whether it's from the president in a national address or through some other senior official. The American people need and deserve more facts in real time, not months later, but right now.
Senators, not only do the American people deserve straight answers, you deserve straight answers. The Pentagon, particularly the United States Air Force, has been hiding from you, our lawmakers, that this has been going on for decades.
These are not the first time we've cited unidentified objects over U.S. airspace. It's just the first time we shoot them down. My question really is the most important question we have to answer now is what are these things, who sent them here, and what are they doing here? And the only way you're going to get answers to that is not just to retrieve whatever's left of them, but to understand how it compares to the hundreds of other similar cases. Because what bothers me the most is everyone's acting like this is the first time we've ever seen these things, and so we reacted that way. No, it isn't. We've had hundreds and hundreds of cases reported by military personnel. We've been talking about it for years. The report that was issued by the Department of National Intelligence earlier this year lists over 500 such cases, dozens this year alone.
Hundreds of cases like this and more. Your colleagues, Senators Marco Rubio, Kirstin Gillibrand, and others created legislation that set up an office in the Pentagon to study the UAP phenomenon. AARO, or the All-Domain Anomalous Resolution Office, is tasked to gather and analyze information on UAP from all government areas. Is the Pentagon cooperating with the AARO office regarding these recent events?
I think what they should be concerned about is that their government has a process in place to analyze these things in a way that allows us to get closer to understanding what we're dealing with. And I'm concerned right now that that's not the process that's in place, that we've now created a brand new process headed by the National Security Council when we already have an existing process that's staffed with scientists and experts who have already collected on hundreds of previous incidents almost identical to this one, and who could use this data from this incident to compare to those and begin to get us closer to answers about who's flying this stuff here and what is it doing here. So the question now has to be, why are they setting up a new task force? Take this data, make it immediately available to those scientists so you can enter it into that database, but also so you can cross-reference it and compare it to the other hundreds of cases that we have. That's the only way you're going to begin to get answers about what it is we're dealing with here.
Maybe, Senators, they don't want AARO, and particularly you, to have those answers.
I don't know, so I guess I'm not confident that they'll know those answers. I think they'll have more answers if they take the data that was collected from the sensors on the aircraft that engaged them and share that with AARO, the office of that was set up to analyze these things, so that the scientists and experts at AARO can not just analyze that data, but cross-compare it to the other data we've collected from the hundreds of other incidents and begin to get a clearer picture of what we're dealing with. That's the only way you're ever going to get an answer to this, and that process is so far not happening. They have no nation. They don't know whose it is. They don't even know what it is. They can't even tell you what it looked like beyond.
The Pentagon is not playing ball.
He's also asked to go back and look at all of the archival data. He has not been able to get access to it because, as you can imagine, it's probably siloed in all sorts of
Yes, ma'am, it is.
That was Senator Kirstin Gillibrand stating that the Pentagon won't give Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the director of AARO, any historical data on UAP. Why? Because they don't want you and the public to find out how long this has been going on. Senators, you must ask yourselves, if all of this just happened in the past week, imagine what's really been going on for 8 decades. Do you think the United States Air Force just now figured out that they can see UAP if they change their radar algorithms? In July of 2022, Air Force General Glenn D. Van Herk, commander of the United States Northern Command and Northern American Aerospace Defense Command, stated that, quote, if any of our NORAD fighters or any assets assigned to NORTHCOM came across some type of UAP, we would absolutely report that. I'm just telling you, we haven't seen that. In 80 years, the United States Air Force has seen a lot and hidden a lot from you. Stovepiped billion-dollar special access programs stuffed into private aerospace to hide them from your oversight. Most importantly, the United States Air Force doesn't want you to know about dozens of documented cases of UAPs that tampered with our land-based strategic nuclear deterrent. If that doesn't scream a national security issue, then what does? Senators, it's time to ask questions about the prosaic and the non-prosaic. What does Avril Haines, the director of the Office of National Intelligence, think about the non-prosaic?
And the main issues that Congress and others have been concerned about are basically safety of flight concerns and counterintelligence issues. But of course, there's always the question of, is there something else that we simply do not understand that might come extraterrestrial? So,
Senators, you have to ask yourself this question. Is the Pentagon woefully incompetent, or is it willfully hiding things from you? Guess what? It's the latter, and that is un-American. And most importantly, it jeopardizes the United States national security. So, Senators, it's time to familiarize yourselves with this topic. When you do, you will quickly realize it's time to call the Pentagon and the United States Air Force on the carpet.